Taesik heads home after visiting the grocery store. He runs into his neighbor, a young girl named Somi. He runs a pawn shop and Somi trades in her music player for $1. He can see that she's hungry, so he shares a meal with her. Their meal is interrupted when Somi's mom returns home. Knowing that Somi likes to hang out with Taesik, her mom questions him about her whereabouts, but she hides and Taesik helps. Somi's mom trades in a camera when she warns him not to hang out with Somi anymore. Mr. O is punishing Mansuk for a botched deal. He gives Mansuk 3 days to figure out where the product is. One of his men finds the person responsible and it turns out to be Somi's mom. He gives her 1 day to bring it back and leaves. Feeling scared, Somi asks to sleep over at Taesik's apartment for the night. Taesik takes a bus to the mausoleum and visits his deceased wife. When he returns home, he sees Somi in trouble with the police. Instead of helping her, he walks away. Mansuk calls his younger brother Jong. He tells him to go to Somi's mom and get the product back. Taesik runs into Somi at the convenience store, but she avoids speaking to him and steals a snack. Taesik tries to pay for what she stole, but the shop owner refuses. On the way back home, she asks for her music player back and forgives Taesik for not helping with the police earlier, and states that she has nobody except for him. She returns home but is met by Jong, who is torturing her mom. When Taesik gets home, he can see that his lock is broken, and then a group of thugs approach him. One of the thugs questions him while holding a knife, but Taesik takes the knife away quickly. A bigger thug decides to handle the situation but is quickly knocked down. Mansuk's bodyguard enters the room and hands him his phone. Jong tells Taesik to hand over the camera and its contents to him. He declines, but when he hears that they have Somi as well, he quickly hands it over and the thugs recover the product. As they leave, the bodyguard shoots the big thug on the ground and leaves the phone for Taesik. Taesik runs outside and sees a black van with Somi trapped, but he fails to chase after them. He goes back inside to report the break-in to the police, but they just mock him and he hangs up. He receives a call from Jong later. He orders Taesik to make a delivery for him. Taesik picks up a bag containing the product, loses the phone and heads to Mr. O's office. When he arrives, Mr. O mistakes him as a Chinese buyer. After a quick conversation, Taesik reveals he completed his task and wants Somi and her mom to be cut loose. Mansuk decides to betray Mr. O and calls the DIA agents to arrest him. While on the phone, the cops start to enter the building. Mr. O throws the product to Taesik, and his men start to beat him. They throw him over the side, but a net catches him and he sees Mr. O running below him. Mr. O gets in his car, but his exit is blocked off by the cops. As he turns around, Taesik uses his car and they crash. Taesik climbs out, but as he approaches the trunk, he sees Somi's mom's body already dead. Taesik is being questioned at the station. The police state that he's clean, but he has no public records for 8 years. As they interrogate him, they blame him for harvesting Somi's mom's organs. Detective Kai searches Taesik's apartment and finds a dead body and calls the interrogator, but to his surprise, someone else picks up and tells him Taesik escaped. Somi is dropped off in front of a grandma who locks her up in a sketchy-looking room. Taesik retrieves the phone he threw away earlier and sets off to save Somi. Detective Kai looks through the security cameras and sees Taesik take out the entire police force. His computer guy tells him that Taesik's file is locked by military intelligence, which confuses them more. Taesik enters a club where Mansuk and Jong are hiding. Feeling that something is wrong, Mansuk tells Jong to leave. Taesik makes his way to the bathroom when he runs into Jong's friend. Taesik fights his way through and tortures Jong's friend on his whereabouts. Mansuk's bodyguard enters the room shooting Jong's friend while Taesik dodges the bullets. Taesik hides and ambushes him when he checks the stalls. The bodyguard retreats to the club dance floor and there is a tense face-off. Before any more fighting happens, Mansuk appears and throws Taesik a phone and they leave. Taesik runs out before the police can catch him. Realizing he's been shot, Taesik heads to a friend's house to heal. He dreams about his wife. His wife is pregnant with their child and he is overjoyed. As he leaves a baby store, a hitman crashes a truck into his wife and shoots Taesik down. He is rescued by his squadmates before the hitman can finish the job. Taesik wakes up and asks his friend for a gun. He cuts his hair and heads out with a gun to resume his hunt. Detective Kai reaches Taesik's phone and tells him to confess everything he knows. He shares what he knows and Detective Kai tells him Somi was spotted withdrawing money from an ATM in Chinatown and is most likely a mule. Taesik scopes out Chinatown. He follows a young boy to an arcade dodging the cops. He knows the boy is a mule, so he waits and he barely misses Somi also making a delivery. Taesik follows the boy to an ATM but is caught by the cops patrolling the area. He gets cornered but sees the boy getting into a gray van and makes his escape through the window to keep chasing. He steals a taxi and follows the van to a rundown factory. When he enters, he sees that the kids are working as slaves. He spots Jong in the corner, but before he does anything he checks out the other rooms for Somi. He runs into a thug about to hurt some kids and shoots him. The shot startles Jong, but it is too late and Taesik takes out his security. Taesik shoots Jong's leg and throws him around. Angered by what he's seeing, he removes Jong's mask and ties him up. He calls Mansuk and tells him to bring Somi. Mansuk can hear Jong's cries in the background, so he tells his bodyguard to bring him Somi's eyes. Taesik shows no mercy and sets up an explosion which ends Jong's life. He hands a phone to the rescued children telling them to wait for the police. Taesik arrives at Mansuk's hideout. He is surrounded by thugs eager to end him. Mansuk begins to taunt him and rolls a canister holding a pair of eyes. Taesik thinks they belong to Somi and he swears that he will kill Mansuk. He shoots a couple guys and takes cover. Once all the bullets from the thugs are used, he makes his move. Carving the thugs left and right, they are no match for him. With his expert skills, he disarms and counters their knives. Taesik walks towards the canister but it explodes as Mansuk's bodyguard shoots it, taunting him. The two have a knife-only fight and it appears close. Thanks to his rage, Taesik overpowers him and stabs him multiple times. Mansuk makes it into his car when one of his men gets shot, forcing him to drive off. Taesik shoots the tire, making Mansuk lose control. He approaches the car and while Mansuk desperately calls the police, he gets on the hood and tries to shoot him through the glass. Even though the glass is bulletproof, Taesik shoots multiple bullets into the same area, killing Mansuk. After hunting down Mansuk and Jong, he feels that there is nothing else left for him now that Somi is gone. He tries to end his own life, but to his surprise Somi comes out from the shadows and he puts the gun down to hug her. The police arrive and take Taesik and Somi away. Before heading to the station, Taesik asks for a favor and they head to the convenience store. He buys some stuff he thinks Somi will need and apologizes for not being there for her earlier. They embrace as he tells her she is on her own now.